All right, we're back. I'm using a borrowed machine for this one. We are Game 2015 in the winter 2018 semester at George Brown, week 10, part 1 of our broadcast. I want to talk about more stuff around creating level tiles in Blender and Unity, it should say, not Unit. I'll fix the title later. Yeah, and what I want to talk about is the release schedule. Today we're doing the beta release is what's due. Let's see if I can actually make this so it's legible. Here it is. So remember that what you're doing is your game should be mostly complete at this point. I've created a Dropbox up on Blackboard for you guys. So you should be able to go up and put up your stuff on Blackboard at this point. Just keep in mind that what I'm looking for is for your updated game design document is just the stuff that you've changed, right? So don't just, if you have changed nothing, that would be bad. There should be always some new assets, something new that you did, updated wireframes or screenshots as an example, something that you've done. If you've done nothing over the last couple of weeks and your alpha and your beta look identical, something's wrong, right? So there should be something there. You're good? Okay. Also, keep in mind that your assignment 3 should be up as well for, and is also due. That's Elir's side for your agile stuff. So your pivotal tracker stuff is due from your backlog, and your burn up chart is what he's looking for. So make sure that those things are up online. If they're due tonight by midnight. Okay, so that's the kind of stuff that we're looking for. I know some of you got marked now on his stuff. I talked to him about this, so you should have your marks that should be posted. I will also be putting together my marks very shortly because my semester's winding down at the university, so I should have more time to give you all your feedback. Other than that, what I want to talk about today is more of the Blender stuff that we talked about. I should have Blender on this machine now. Let's just see if I can get this going. Oh yeah. All right, and I also have a project. I'm just gonna kind of close this off now. I have a project that I've put up on Slack from last week. Can we look at that little Blender project? So I have this little Blender project that's up here, tileset.blend. If we download this thing, here it is. I can see that I've got this tileset Blender project. I want to move away from texture paint mode and I want to go into object mode for a second. I want to talk about what I've done last week. So I kind of talked about some texture painting, but today what we're going to do is we're going to tile up the thing, just put it together in Unity one more time. Because I know some people had questions around how to do stuff. Guys, I recommend, we're also going to do some post-processing effects. Again, I want to talk about post-processing. I looked at some games today. One guy, one of the teams, Ivan, and his team had a real Oculus, which is cool. Made me sick a little bit, to be honest. It's tough. No, not for their game. I'm saying and it was hot, right? I always find that the actual head-mounted displays are really hot. They make me crazy. I don't know what. Maybe it's just me, but I was sweating after I came out of this thing. Maybe it's just my response to the whole experience too. It was scary too. It was really scary, but no, not that way. Hold on a sec. All right, turn the lights off. Is it better? All right. Sorry about that. Okay, so what I want to do today was talk about some more of this stuff here with Blender. So we made this this model. Okay, undo. Let me go back to object mode here. And do I not have a proper mouse? I do not have a proper mouse. This mouse is not for Blender. This mouse is a right click and a left click. That's all I got. Does anyone have a 3-button mouse they can lend me, an extra one? Yep. Sorry guys, this is just not, this mouse is not working out. Just make sure I unplug the right one, because that would be very bad. Oh no, I like Apple. I just don't prefer this mouse. Thanks, sir. I'll give it back to you after. All right, so that's a lot better. Oh yeah, and it's flashier too. So is it a Windows mouse? So yeah. So what I can do is, again, I want to look around at the object. You can see that there's some black areas, and there's also these orange areas. And remember what we talked about last time? I wanted to use back face culling. And we use back face culling because I don't want to be able to. I don't need to draw everything on the scene, right? But there was a couple problems with that. So I want to change a couple things. One is I don't want to use this paint thing that I painted last week. It was cool, but it wasn't what I wanted. So I'm going to remove it. And I want to change it back from, again, from texture to solid for a second. My material is also wrong. I had made it shadeless, so I want to take that away. And you can see what I have here. I have my tiles, and what it is it's just culling the back face. Okay. So I want to try a couple different things here. One of the things is I want to do is when I go to edit mode, I've already kind of made hidden the other parts, and I have this one. Did I actually do right click on this thing? Maybe not. I want my lamps all hidden. That's what I want to definitely do. I don't want to see my lamps. So I'm going to take my point lamps away. So they're there in the scene, but I don't want to see them, right? And again, I'm looking at the layer I'm looking. I broke this down into layers, and the layer I'm looking at right now is this layer number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the right. Okay. Huh? You should. If you have it, it's right here. If you look at the layers down here in the middle, on the right, there's this shape right here. Right? And if I go into edit mode, so if I select the shape and go into edit mode, then you should see yes, and that's why I said go download it from Slack. Yeah, so the way you can find it if you want to, if you can't see it on Slack, is if you go to here on the top, and if you go to all files, then you can see the last files I have. I'm going to use all of these in a second, so just download tileset.blend. Okay? So tileset.blend, it's just a bunch of tiles that I made in class, and they're made by hand. So what it includes for this one, if I go back to object mode for a second, is a bunch of these tiles that I made. I made kind of a left turn. I made kind of an H intersection, which is kind of a little funky if I wanted to use one of those. I've made a T. I've got a straight, and there's a right turn and a left turn. They're almost identical, but they're aligned properly if you use them right. Now, one that I did last week is bring this whole blend file into Unity, and I don't want to do that this week. So one more thing to do. Hopefully, I have Unity on this thing. Hey, no, I don't have Unity. That would be very bad. That's very bad. So we'll do the Blender stuff first, then I'll take a break, and then we'll do the Unity stuff after. That is pretty bad, guys. Me downloading Unity, I'd have to download the very basic Unity version for me to do that. That's very bad. Okay, so anyways, it is what it is. So again, I've got this shape, and there's some problems with this shape. One of the problems is, you know, that it's complex enough that when I want to texture it, texturing it and kind of unwrapping it might be challenging, right? Now, in a real world scenario, before I built it, I would have already unwrapped it, and then I would have been able to kind of combine these objects into one tile, and each one of these walls could have their own texture, and it would be really perfect. Right now, though, we're going to have to do a little bit of a hack job. So we're going to go back into edit mode, and here I have what I've done is I've hidden the walls, and to unhide them, you can press Alt or Command, or Option H, which brings them back. So that's all I've done. I've just hidden them. So I've pressed, you can unhide them as an example, and if you want, we can put it into front view in orthographic mode. I can go into wireframe mode. I can deselect all by pressing the A key. And then what I can do is I can just hide the walls again. So I can just kind of select all these, make sure you're actually in face mode. Let's try that again. I can use the B select or box select to select all the walls. And now that I've done that, you can see that I've got this. And then I can just press H to hide them. I can press H to hide them. There we go. And then I can go back into kind of solid mode, not wireframe, out of wireframe mode, and I can go back into perspective, and you can see that I've got these things right here. But I want to add another texture, and this is a bit of review. If you guys remember how to do textures in Blender, I want to, I've got a texture that's up on Slack here. So if I go to Slack again, I've got this texture called concrete.jpg that I just downloaded today. So if you download this texture, so I want to download this one. And then what I can do with it is I can bring it into Blender, right? So here on the right, I have this thing called tile. That's the material that I've used, tile material. And then if I kind of scroll, so click on this and scroll, I can scroll to the texture tab over here, second one from the right, and I can add a new texture slot. Here's a new texture slot. We can call this the floor. Here's my floor tile. We've done this before. And you can see that I want, it's immediately gone to image or movie, and I can click open, and I can click that concrete object that I downloaded, and I click open image. Now, even though this grabbed everything, I'm going to save this thing now. I'm going to save my Blender file, right? Save my Blender file where it was. It's in my downloads right now. But I've packed this file up with it, but I haven't yet re-unwrapped it, or it doesn't look properly unwrapped. So again, to see this unwrapped, I'm going to go to UV editing mode. And right now, you can see on the right, I've got this toolbar, and on the left side, I've got this number bar. I'm going to get rid of the number bar or the numeric properties by pressing N. And on the right, I can get rid of this toolbar by pressing T. There we go. And I want to see this in perspective because orthographic is making me crazy. And you can see what I've got here. I've got this thing that's kind of evenly unwrapped everything. Nice. But I'm not seeing it over here. And the reason for that is because I got to select all of this. So A to select all. And if I scroll in, you can see that I wasn't looking at the right thing. Also, I've got this thing here, my little circle, because down here, I was in paint mode before. And I want to move from paint mode into view mode, which would allow me to see this object in its entirety. There we go. Now, but I don't see a background. And to do that, I can just go down to this area here and select a background image, which is the concrete. And I can scroll back out again. So this is what the concrete will look like, but it's a little big. I want it to tile. So what I want to do is I want to scale my UVs up a little bit. So I want to press the S key and scale them up until they're slightly bigger, like about right here. And what this does is it actually reduces the size of the texture that I'm applying, and it tiles the texture here, 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 and here in these 4 areas, right? And that's this part. So this part is done. So I've done my texturing. I'm going to save my file now. I'm going to go back to default view. Here is my default view. And in my default view, I've got this object, but I can't see the texture because I'm in solid mode. I want to be in texture, and so I can see this thing. It looks like this. I want to go back into object mode so you can see what it looks like. And you can see now that when I look through my object, I can see my textures right here. But what about my poor walls? My poor walls are all untextured. I can't leave them like that. And they're using the floor material, which is not cool. I want to make a new material. So here, with the object still selected, I want to make a new material. So I add another material slot. And what the hell did happen just now? Oh, it's called floor 001. Yeah, no. So I want to select, sorry, I want to select my floor. I want to make a new material. That's what I wanted to do. And not use, okay, wait a minute. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Sorry. I'll be okay. I got to click here and click new. There we go. I'll be all right. And in my floor material, let's make this the walls material. I'll be okay. Walls material. And this is my walls texture, actually. That's what I've done. And that's why it's happening the way it's happening. I want to go to materials. I'll be all right, Tom. So it's the afternoon after level up, a couple days, and I'm still tired. Okay, click new, and I'm going to click a new material called walls. There we go. I want to turn the specularity right down. I don't want my walls to be shiny. I want to change the shader to be Fong, just because I prefer that one. And I'm going to go to this texture and add another one. I'm not going to choose one of these. Just make a new one. I'm going to call this walls. There we go. And the reason why it's walls 001 is because walls already exists. Doesn't matter, it's empty. For you, it should be only the same one. And what I want to do is I want to use the same texture. So instead of opening up a new one, I'm going to use the old one. So concrete.jpg. But they're not unwrapped. So that's why I'm not seeing the texture on the walls right now. I need to unwrap the walls, right? That's what these things look like right now. First, I'll save my blend file. And I'm going to go back to UV editing mode because it's easier for me to see something like that. And I want to take it back to solid mode. And I want to go into edit mode. And you can see that I can't see my walls because I've hidden them. So let's just use Option or Alt-H to bring my walls back. If I look at it from front view and an orthographic view, you can see that I've got my walls selected here. There we go. Do an orthographic view. And what I want to do is I want to only select these ones, my walls, but not my floor. So just kind of just deselect all, going to wireframe mode, use my B button for B select, and only select the walls now, but not the floor. There we go. So the floor is not selected, just the walls. Look at it from the front view. And now what I want to do in this front view is I want to apply my material there first. Let me just go back to default mode. I forgot to do that. So defaults, I got the walls, but I want to apply this material. So I'm going to go back to materials and click assign. And now the walls have the walls material and the floor has the tiles material. This is a very important step. Let's go back to UV editing. Okay, now that that's true, I want to unwrap them. And the way I would do that is click unwrap. So U for unwrap. If I just do a unwrap, you're going to see a weird pattern that I'm going to get. I'm going to get something like this. And this is not useful to me whatsoever. And it won't be useful to you either. It's kind of making an island. I'm clicking the concrete here. It's making an island that is quite large, and it looks like weird like this. Take a look, Colin. Not useful at all, right? And why? Because that means these things will be stretched. The texture on this part of the wall will be all stretched out, and it won't look right, right? So I want to press U again. Instead of doing just a simple unwrap, let's use a smart UV unwrap or smart UV project, and then press OK. And this does make them, kind of puts them all in order, right? That's one thing it does do. But there's these other areas here that do some funny things that look like this. And that's OK, because those areas are the ledges, these ledges here and underneath, and no one's going to look at those. So for now, for us, it's probably good. In real life, you would probably do a different kind of unwrapping, right? And like I said before, I probably would do each panel separately, right? But for us, this is enough. Okay, so cool. We've got this texture. It's been unwrapped, but let's see what it looks like now. If I go back into default mode, that's the zigzags are the ledges, right? And that it's tried to figure out what to do with them. It doesn't know, right? Yeah, that's what it is. So yeah, so pretty cool, right? So like what I could also have done, just for those people who are curious, I could have taken it back into UV editing mode I could have done this. I could have said, okay, let's take all the walls from a certain perspective. So only the walls that are front facing, only the walls that are from the right, and then done a UV projecting from a particular view, and then I could have done it that way. But I'm not going to do that right now. I've done it properly. I'm going to go back to default mode, and this is it. Now it seems that there are still areas that I can see through because of back face culling, and that's okay. Remember, we don't want to kind of see the back faces anyway. We're never going to see the back faces. Okay, that's the reality of it. Okay, so this is ready to be exported now and put into Unity. Unfortunately, I don't have Unity on this system. I'm going to save this file, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to export it. I'll show you the export options that I'm going to use. So I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Export FBX. Here's my FBX option, and now it's going to show me down here some options. One is I want to click this selected objects. So click selected objects only. That's the first option that I would choose. Next, make sure you rename this tile because this tile is kind of an intersection. So let's make sure that it says intersection.fbx. Okay, and then I'm going to click export. I'm going to export this into my download folder. You can export this on your desktop somewhere or somewhere else. I'm going to click export. Oops. I'm going to click export, and then that should do it. All right, cool. So I've got this, I've exported it, and now I'm going to take a short break and see if I can somehow download and install Unity. All right, I'll see you back when I come back.